Guys, I just wanted to share something I found out in regards to the HTC Vive touchpads on the controllers. So, up until now, they've just kind of been a sealed thing with this stupid plastic backing on it that you can't really do much with. I found out that you can actually separate the top of the touchpad with the bottom. To do that, you will want the top piece of the controller removed just so you don't damage anything. Normally this piece would be connected to the main PCB, but we don't want that because when we do this, it's going to tug on that cable, which could potentially break things. So once you have this piece on its own, you'll want some sort of tool that's small and skinny. I like to use just one of these little micro flatheads, and we'll just want to very, very gently bring that down in the side of this touchpad and just wedge it upwards. Eventually it'll feel like it popped, and you'll be able to remove the top of the touchpad. Now this is where you got to be really careful, because this cable is in the way and you kind of got to pull it through this hole. So once you get that, you have the touchpad on its own. That's what it looks like inside. I've discovered that this box, I am almost certain that is the rumble pack. So if you've ever had a rumble pack break, it could be the circuitry inside this thing. I've also noticed just underneath here, there's these two little welds right here, these two solders. There's a tiny ribbon that goes underneath those, and if you pull on this cable, that solder, those 2 points can easily come up, and that little ribbon connector underneath them can break. And if that happens, I'm pretty sure that's what causes the rumble pad to stop working, and that's basically irreparable to at least what we have as tools here at Vega. So something to watch out for, and I've seen this on basically every single touchpad I've opened up like this, is these 6 points here. These 6 or so, 7 little contacts are almost always corroded. As you can see around the edge of the touchpad, there's a lot of gunk. I'm fairly certain our Lysol sanitizer almost always gets up in there and just gets all over those contacts. And you can see this further on the plastic. The plastic just presses right against them. There's no breathing space, so it just sits there and makes things bad. So it's easy enough to get rid of that corrosion. You can just wash the plastic, but for the PCB, all you really need is a pencil eraser, which I can just grab out of my tool thing here. And, oh, sorry about that. All it takes is just a little eraser, and you can just carefully just rub all that off. Careful not to scratch it with the metal or anything. Don't be too aggressive with it. You'll notice that looks a whole lot better. It's not perfect, but it is definitely better. I'm also fairly certain that these regular Vive touchpads are swappable with the Vive Pro touchpads. They have slightly different circuitry, but all of the ribbons and the rumble pack, they all seem to be the same thing. It would be worth testing that further, but yeah, I have been able to swap the touchpads back and forth, and they did seem to work. So this is what I've discovered. You can open these. There you go.